I believe the correct phrase to use at a time like this is, shut up and take my money. Hi there and welcome to the Weekly Geekly Report, the now official title of my weekly news roundup show. I've been doing one for a little while now, but I wasn't planning on this being a regular thing, but then big stories just kept coming out, so screw it, it's now an official thing. I now have a weekly report roundup show called the Weekly Geekly Report. It was going to be called This Week in Geek, but apparently 9 other people thought of that ahead of me. Normally, the most news I'm going to have on this show is going to be about comic books, because if you watch my channel, you know that's what I tend to focus on a lot, but it's also because stuff about comic books seems to keep coming up every single week. But you know, I'm also going to squeeze in anything big in the way of like video game, movie stuff like that. And this week, I wasn't really gonna have a lot to talk about up until about 10 minutes ago when both Marvel and DC decided to start a war for my dollar. And I'm looking forward to that. Okay, let's get into it. There's big stories coming out of both Marvel and DC today. And we'll start with DC. The big story coming out of DC this week is that the New 52 is done. It's over, Johnny. It is done. Drop the balloons, okay? The New 52 is finished. Kind of. And what I mean by that is that about 4 years ago, they started the New 52, and ever since then, they've been referring to this whole universe as the New 52. They put New 52 on all their books. That is how this universe has been known, and this universe has kind of been defined by some very similar things. And by that, I mean it's basically been 3 dudes at the top running everything. And those 3 guys are Dan DiDio, Jim Lee, and that dude who created the Clone Saga over at Marvel. Yeah, that's the editor-in-chief at DC Comics. Explains a lot about the New 52, doesn't it? And so those 3 guys, they created the entire New 52, and it was basically just them. I mean, Jim Lee designed almost every single character in the New 52. That's how much influence these 3 guys had in making up this entire universe. And over the last 4 years, the entire New 52 has kind of been defined by those 3 guys basically either saying, this is the kind of book that I want to read, or shut up, I know what other people want to read. You may remember that news story from about 2 years ago in which Paul Pope went into the offices at DC and said, hey, I've got an idea for a Commandi book, it'd be great for young readers, it'd be great for kids, and he was flat out told, we don't make books for kids, we make books for 45-year-olds. If you want to make books for kids, you can go write Scooby-Doo. They told that to Paul Pope, for God's sakes. So for the past 4 years, DC has kind of been tanking in the sales, and it's had a lot to do with that mentality at the New 52, and with that mentality defining so many of those characters and that universe, while meanwhile, Marvel and Image and many of the independent companies out there have been booming, and it's because they have been extending beyond, like, you know, just white dudes, basically. It's been them going, well, I might not understand this book, but someone out there will, so hire me someone that will. And that's how we've been getting so much variety coming out of Marvel and Image at this point in time. And over the last year, you've begun to see this happening at DC as well. You've seen books like the new Gotham Academy being launched. You've seen Batgirl going in a whole new direction. They're speaking to these new readers. They're speaking to this new market that before they were completely ignoring. And they've been hiring brand new people to come in and write for them or to ed for them. And that's adding new voices to their, to their bullpen. That's fantastic to see. And you're never going to get those 3 guys at the top to come out and say, listen, we were wrong and we apologize. But what we're seeing is action. We're seeing actions that are speaking for them, that are saying, we are trying to now go for that market. And that's great. You can now tell that Dan DiDio is finally admitting, I don't understand why people want to read these books, but they do, so hire me someone who does understand and give them this book. That's what we need. Actually, what we need is probably someone at the top who does understand these books, but this is as close as we're getting right now, and it can lead to that in the future. Okay, so I'm just going to run down all these books that are being launched. I'm going to do it super fast, alphabetical order. I'm going to list for you the goods and the bads, at least as far as I can tell. You know, I can always be wrong. We have heard literally zilch about these books so far, aside from just who the creative teams are. But I'm going to list for you what I think the positives and what I think the negatives are. So here we go. First off, Batman Beyond. Negative, it's another Batman book. Positive, it's Batman Beyond. So, mostly positive. Next up, Batmite. It's a comedy book. DC has been stinking at comedy books. I'm glad to see them attempting it with this. It looks fun. Positive. Next up, Bizarro. Same thing. See Batmite. Positive. Next up, Black Canary. Black Canary getting her own title. Fantastic. That's a positive. It's by the people doing the new Batgirl book, or at least one of the writers of it. And I'll admit, I think the new Batgirl book has kind of been trying a little too hard to hit that hipster demographic. I mean, her villain in the first issue was a mean DJ who runs an evil blog that hacks people's social media. And her enemy in the second book was two cosplayers who dressed up as anime characters from an obscure show you probably have never heard of. You guys are trying a little too hard. It'd be good if you pulled back a little bit. And the cover that we saw for this, it shows her as like a rocker, it shows her with more of a punk attitude, which is not what I think of when I think of Black Canary, but Black Canary goes through changes with each generation. So I'm half positive on this one, half hesitant, but mostly, you know, that's mostly towards the positive. So yeah, put her over there, Black Canary, boom, done. Next up, Constantine is being rebranded as Constantine Hellblazer and is being written by Ming Doyle. Great, you're getting a female writer on that book, that sounds fantastic, so that's a positive. It's being rebranded as its old Vertigo title, that is also a positive. It's still not a Vertigo title, so that's a negative. So, 2 positives, 1 negative. Alright, that's good. Next up, Cyborg. Thank God, yes, positive all the way. He's the only member of the Justice League who hasn't had his own book ever since you started the New 52. How is that possible? You brag about finally putting a black character on the starting team for the Justice League, and then you don't do anything with him? And you're getting Ivan Rice to write it, to draw it. That's awesome. Yes, all positives for Cyborg. Fantastic. Next up is Dark Universe. This is very obviously replacing Justice League Dark, which, thank goodness. I think it's amazing that they have an all, like, dark mystical team together, but the moment you call it the Justice League, it just seems weird, man. That's not the Justice League. It's the Shadow Pact, but it's not the Justice League. So yeah, rebranding as Dark Universe, go for it. All in. Positive. Next up, Green Lantern The Lost Army. We know literally nothing about this, except that it's being written by Cullen Bunn. And I like Cullen Bunn on Sinestro. So positive. Next up, you have Doomed. We know nothing about this except it kind of sounds like it's going to go back to that Superman Doom storyline that they had, which wasn't very good. It's being written by Scott Lobdell. So negative. Next up is Dr. Fate. Dr. Fate is getting a book. Awesome. Positive. Next up is Earth 2 Society. I know nothing about Earth 2 Society. Next up, we have a 6-issue miniseries featuring Harley Quinn and Power Girl, and it's being written by Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti, the current writing crew on Harley Quinn. Okay, I'd like to ask the ladies in the audience a question. It's because I don't know how to feel about this book. Because yeah, it's being written by the same people writing the current Harley Quinn book. And there are a lot of dudes out there, there are a lot of men out there who love the Harley Quinn series. They love that Harley Quinn series. They think it's fantastic. And hey, if you like a book, great. Good for you. I will never try and take away from you enjoying a comic. But when it comes to me discussing anticipations for this book and discussing how well this will appeal to female audience members, if you're a dude who likes the Harley Quinn book, shut up. This is not the time for you to share in this argument. This is solely me asking the women in the audience, how do you feel about this? How do you feel? Because I look at the Harley Quinn series, and it's pretty much nothing but just poop jokes and her getting naked and making out with women constantly in that series. It seems like every frat boy's fantasy in there, and yet I haven't heard anybody complain about it. I haven't heard any women complain. I've heard women complain about the skimpy outfits that Harley Quinn has worn in, like, say, the Arkham Asylum video games, which you are right to complain about that. But I've never really heard anybody complain about the current Harley Quinn comic, let alone from, like, say, that first issue. But ever since then, I haven't really heard any complaints, so my question is, do you find the current Harley Quinn series offensive in any way? Are you looking forward to that same writing crew doing this book? Because it's based off of when Power Girl and Harley Quinn already teamed up in this series, and when they teamed up, Power Girl basically got naked. She then walked around in really skimpy clothes that showed off her features, and then for some reason, I guess it was because of plot, she had to dress up like a cave girl. Yeah, that seems like something that I would find offensive if I was a woman, but I'm not a woman, so I don't know. This is solely me asking. If you guys tell me that I'm wrong and that you love this book, hey, go for it. Then I am happy to hear that. I'm glad that you guys are enjoying it too, and I will shut up about this. But how do you feel about it? I don't know, and I don't know how I should feel about this either. I don't like it, but that could just be me, and I could be wrong, and I'm talking right now about how well DC is trying to appeal to new female readers, so let me hear it from you new female readers out there. If you've been checking out the Harley Quinn book, and you go, I enjoy it and I'm looking forward to them doing this series, then let me know. If you hated it and you worry about this upcoming series, let me know that too. I want to hear from all voices on this. What book were we on? Alright, okay, so next one. Justice League of America. It is going to feature the main Justice League members again, which, okay, that's fine. And it is being drawn by Brian Hitch. That is a positive. And it is being written by Brian Hitch. Yeah, no. Maybe we'll get him to in that Real Heroes book he was writing for Image. So that'd be a positive. Next up, Martian Manhunter. Martian Manhunter is needing a new book. That is awesome. Get him over in the positive. Next up after that, Midnighter. It's being written by the guy who did Undertow, which was a really freaky cool series, so I'm happy to see him getting more work. And also, it means that DC, once again, has a gay character in his own book. Awesome. Over in the positives. After that is Mystic U. There has been no information at all about Mystic U. The U implies university, which really makes me think that they looked at the success of Gotham Academy and they went, get us another school setting. Which is cool, because I love the concept of Gotham Academy. I haven't really liked the book, and I've had a lot of problems with it, but all my problems have been with problems with the writing on it, not with the concept. So if you can give me another book with a very similar concept that fixes a lot of the problems I had, then perfect. So, okay. I'm, put in the positive. Done. Next up is Omega Men. I know nothing about Omega Men. I mean, I know the books that they came from. They came from the old Rebel series, which everything that I know about the Omega Men basically says to me that this is another one of the books that those three guys at the top went, I love this kind of book. Give me this type of book. Which, like I said, I had a problem with them doing that so much. But I haven't really seen a lot of books like this in this new, soft reboot they're doing. So you know what? Give them one. They can have it. I'm not putting it in positive or negative. Next after that, though, is Prez. Now, Prez was this mini-series that they had about a teenage president that they did way back in the 60s or 70s. I can't remember exactly when. But it was one of those weird, trippy, feel-good kind of books. And now it's going to have a female protagonist. So basically, it's about a teenage female president. In theory, once again, we know nothing other than one image they put up, but it looks like it's going to be some freaking cool sci-fi stuff. So hey, I'm putting that in the positive. Next up, after that, we have the Red Hood and the Outlaw series is being rebranded as Red Hood and Arsenal, and it's still going to exist, being written by Scott Lobdell. So negative. Sorry, Scott. Actually, not sorry. You know what you did. Almost at the end, thank God. Okay, Damian is getting his own series called Robin, Son of Batman. I've enjoyed Damian well enough, and I'm glad he's back, so okay, positive. Then after that is another 6-issue miniseries. It's called Section 6. It is by Garth Ennis. It is based on the characters that he created back when he was doing Hitman, and they're getting him to come back and do it himself. This sounds awesome that it's happening, so okay, go for it. Positive. Next up is We Are Robin. It's a book that's going to be about all the people who have used the Robin mantle before, but it's also about brand new people in Gotham City adopting the title of Robin, about taking that banner of Robin and using it to go out and clean up the streets of Gotham. And it looks like the main person that's going to star is Duke Thomas, who is a character that was introduced in Scott Snyder's run on Batman, who has been with Batman all throughout his New 52 history, and that's awesome to see. I'm really looking forward to that, because he's a really cool character. I really want to see more from him. And also, it'd be our first Black Robin. That's awesome. And lastly is Starfire. Okay, Starfire is getting her own book. Awesome. I love Starfire. She's a fantastic character. She's always been one of my favorite members of the Teen Titans. I cannot wait to read this book by her. Who's doing the creative work on it? Those guys again? God damn it. Okay, so Amanda Conner and Jimmy Palmiotti are also writing this one. Listen, guys, I love Starfire. Starfire is an amazing character, and I am so glad she's getting her own book. But, like I said, Amanda Conner and Jimmy Palmiotti love poop jokes and getting women naked. So prepare for Starfire to be naked in this book. A lot. Like 5 pages out of the first 2 issues. Guys, I am begging you, after what Scott Lobdell did to her character on Red Hood and the Outlaws, just rein it in. I know that's what you like to write, but just be cool on this new book and just realize that you're getting a lot of young female readers coming into this book fresh off of watching Teen Titans when they were kids or watching Teen Titans Go these days. Realize that's who's going to be picking up this book. Don't aim it at the Harley Quinn audience, okay? Yeah, I'm trying to swim an ocean on this one. But okay, overall, the goods far outweigh the positives. So I am very much looking forward to this. And DC, you make this work, I'm back in your corner. A lot of people have been arguing with me that, oh, I'm just a Marvel fanboy. Oh, I'm just there to, you know, cuddle up to Marvel, and I'm always gonna hate DC. No, Marvel's just been kicking ass lately, and I admit to that, and I accept that they've been kicking ass. And I don't want them to just be kicking ass. I want them to kick ass, and I also want DC to kick ass. I want every company out there to kick ass. I want to go into a comic book store with 20 bucks and throw it on the ground and tell all the companies to fight for it, okay? I want every company out there to try and impress every single reader out there. I want them to work so hard to make it so that anybody, no matter who you are, can walk into a comic book store and pick up a book, and there will be a book on the stand by that company that is for you. Okay, that's what I want, and it looks like DC could be doing that. You know who's also doing that? Marvel. Oh, Marvel. I just want to cuddle right up to you. Yes, much in the great comic blocking spirit that is Marvel. They waited right until DC made this huge announcement and then just casually strolled out there and just dropped it on the ground. Oh, by the way, what did we drop there? Oh yeah, it's a new all-female Avengers team that's being written by 2 women. Holy cow! This book, A-Force, is coming out and is going to feature characters such as Medusa, She-Hulk, Dazzler, and Nico from The Runaways. Holy cow, I was beginning to think we were never seeing her again. But now she's an Avenger? Oh, my runaway baby has grown up. I'm so proud. So yes, all those characters and more are now going to be on A-Force, this all Avengers team, and it is going to be written by G. Willow Wilson, the lady who has been writing Miss Marvel and killing it on that book, by the way, and Marguerite Bennett, current co-writer on Angela, Asgard's Assassin, and killing it, by the way. And they are going to team up on this book. I am so looking forward to this. I've been saying for the longest time that they need to make an all-females team, and Marvel's tried with this. They have the all-female X-Men team, and they tried with the Defenders. But there's been a problem that both those books have had that this one is correcting. The problem that those other books have had, and Gail Simone is the one who really made me think about this, is that they share the names with other teams. Now, if you're going to have an all-female team and you're trying to unite your female fan base around that, you're trying to basically give your female fans a book in which they can say, that's the team that I love, that's the team that has so many women on it that I enjoy looking up to and that I feel represents me. You need that team to have a name. With the all-female X-Men team, I love that team, but if you are a fan of that and you want to say that is the team that represents me, and someone asks you, well, what team is that? And you say, X-Men. That includes everyone. If you say, back when they had the Defenders, and you said, that is the team that represents me, and you said, well, what team is that? Defenders. That, you know, the first thing that's going to pop to most people's minds is Silver Surfer, Doctor Strange, Namor, and the Hulk. That is what's going to pop to their mind. This team, yes, it has Avengers in the name. It is called Avengers Force, but it's being shortened to A-Force, and you can call it A-Force. And A-Force is an awesome name, by the way. And it rolls off the tongue, it's memorable, but now when you ask someone, what is the team that you love, that you feel represents you, that makes you feel good and has all the characters that you love, you can say, A-Force. You have an answer and no one's going to confuse it with anything else. That is fantastic to see. Only problem, I always have to nitpick, don't I? Only problem with this book is that it's being launched during Secret Wars. And you might think, well, Secret Wars is a big event that's going to bring in a lot of readers. Yeah, Secret Wars will bring in a lot of old readers, all the ones who already know what's going on in the Marvel Universe. How much am I going to move my hands in this review? Okay. Jesus. Alright. But, I'm still doing it. But, a lot of new readers are going to be coming into this. A lot of new readers are going to be brought into this, and that's great. I love to see them come in, but if it is involved in the big let's end the Marvel Universe and have all these alternate realities collide together storyline, that's going to be confusing as hell. And I'm not saying that, you know, Marvel shouldn't do this storyline. I've made numerous videos about why I think it might be a good idea. I'm just saying it's going to be confusing. And that's where the responsibility falls on us, on the fans out there. If you know someone who is interested in getting into comics, and you think that they are going to love A-Force, it is your job to figure out a way to simplify Secret Wars into 5 sentences or less. One short paragraph, bam, 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 maybe one final bam of information that you can boil it all down to and makes it easy for them to get into so that they can pick up that book and get right into it. I would love it if Marvel could do that, but have you seen how confusing Secret Wars is going to be? They don't know how to do it, so it's up to us. So I want you guys to start thinking about that now, about how you're going to introduce your friends to this new A-Force book. And also, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. That's right, this was a long episode, but I am finally at the end of it. I am parched. Seriously, it always makes me feel so good. Whenever I see anybody sharing this video, whenever I see anybody watching this video or talking about it, makes me feel so good. So I thank you all for that. If you like this video, please leave a comment below. Please hit that thumb up button, and please hit that subscribe button. I could really use another hand when I do this. But I'm going to have future videos coming up about all these news stories. I am going to be talking more about the big DC mini reboot, whatever you want to call it. When it gets closer to it, I'll end up having reviews and summaries of all the books coming up. If you are interested in A-Force, I am going to have a top 10 coming up in 2 weeks that is all about the top 10 members I want to see joining A-Force. And like I said, if you want to know more about Secret Wars, I not only already have a couple videos up about that, but I'm going to have a video that summarizes all of Secret Wars. So, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to share this with anyone. You can follow me on Twitter and Tumblr. I'll leave the addresses below. And man, I am just completely beat after this one. Thanks everybody. Bye.